There is a specific kind of silence that falls over 70,000 people right before an idol decides to say something he did not plan to say. It happened in Munich, inside the Allianz Arena, on the night of July 11th, 2026. BTS had just finished tearing through one of the most chaotic, most joyful nights of the entire Arirang World Tour, and for a moment, the lights dimmed just enough for Jimin to speak from the heart instead of from the set list. What he said next was not a scripted thank you. It was not a rehearsed line. It was something closer to a confession, one that fans are still replaying, translating, and passing around days later. And if you have not seen it yet, stay with us, because by the end of this video you are going to understand exactly why this small, quiet moment became one of the most talked about parts of the entire Munich stop. If you are new here, this is where we break down everything happening with Jimin, moment by moment. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button now, because you do not want to miss what comes next. Let's set the scene first, because context is everything with Jimin. This was not just another stadium show. Munich marked the first time in history that a Korean act had ever headlined the Allianz Arena, one of Europe's most iconic football stadiums, home to Bayern Munich. Up to 75,000 fans packed the venue each night, for 2 nights straight, meaning roughly 150,000 people crossed through those gates across July 11th and 12th alone. Bayern Munich themselves welcomed BTS with custom jerseys, each one printed with a member's name and the number 7. And players like Manuel Neuer and Kim Min-jae even shared videos of themselves waving army bombs ahead of the show. This was a city that rolled out the red carpet, and Jimin, whether he expected it or not, was about to give that city something back that no press release or official statement ever could. It also helps to remember where this tour sits in the bigger picture of BTS as a group. This is the first time in years that all 7 members have stood on the same stage together for a full-scale world tour, after most of them spent long stretches completing mandatory military service back home in South Korea. The Arirang World Tour is, in a very real sense, a homecoming, both for the group and for the fans who waited years to see all 7 of them performing side by side again. That backdrop matters, because it means every stop on this tour carries a little extra emotional weight. Fans are not just watching a concert, they are watching 7 friends rebuild a shared rhythm after time apart. City by city, night by night. Munich just happened to be the stop where that rebuilding became visible in an unusually personal way. Before we get to the confession itself, you need to understand what came before it, because the entire night built toward this moment in a way that almost feels written by fate, except it wasn't. It started, as these things often do, with something small. During sound check, a fan held up a banner featuring 3 figures lined up side by side. Thor, the Norse god of thunder, footballer Erling Haaland, described as the god of football, and Jimin himself, labeled simply as our god. Jimin spotted it, sat down, pointed at each figure one by one like he was double-checking he understood the joke correctly, and then laughed. Hours later, during the actual concert, he brought it back to life, mimicking Haaland's now famous walk on stage in front of the entire crowd. The clip spread everywhere within minutes. ESPN Mexico posted about it. A Chilean radio station played Jimin's own song, Who, over a side-by-side comparison video. For a few hours, Jimin was trending in the sports category on social media, which is not something you see every day. So by the time the show reached its emotional final stretch, the energy in that stadium was already at a strange, beautiful peak, somewhere between comedy and pure adoration. And that is exactly when Jimin, standing at the front of the stage, decided to slow things down. He looked out at the crowd and told them, plainly, that their singing skills were seriously impressive, that it was no joke how well they sang along all night. But then he kept going, and this is the part that mattered. He said that normally on tour, he does not really go outside. And if you know anything about how these tours work, that statement lands differently than it might sound at first. Between sound checks, meet and greets, wardrobe fittings, vocal rest, and the sheer physical demand of performing at that level night after night, most idols on a world tour barely leave their hotel rooms. It is not because they do not want to see the city. It is because there simply is not room for it. So when Jimin said that Munich had been different, that this time he actually went outside, it was not a throwaway line. It was him telling 75,000 strangers something quietly personal about his own daily reality. He explained that the members had taken him out, that they walked the streets of Munich together, and he described the city itself as beautiful. He did not name every single person who was there. He did not turn it into a long story with details and timestamps. He kept it simple, almost humble, the way you would tell a friend about a nice afternoon rather than announce a headline. But fans who were tracking every movement of a tour already had a pretty good idea of who some of those members might have been, because just before this confession, footage had already started circulating online. If you have been following our channel, you already know we love connecting these dots for you. So let's connect them now, because this is where the story gets even more interesting. And hey, if you're enjoying how deep we go into these moments, drop a like on this video right now. It genuinely helps more people find these stories. In the days surrounding the Munich shows, multiple videos began appearing across social media showing different members enjoying quiet moments around the city. One clip, in particular, caught fans' attention immediately. Footage showing Jimin, Jin, and J-Hope sitting together at an outdoor table, clearly mid-conversation, clearly relaxed, clearly not performing for any camera. It looked less like three global superstars and more like three old friends catching up over a meal, which, in a way, is exactly what it was. Around the same time, separate footage showed V, Jungkook, and J-Hope spending time near the water on a Munich beach, with J-Hope dipping his feet in while V sat nearby. None of these were official releases. None of these came from big hit music or an approved fan cam. They were candid, unplanned, and clearly filmed by people who happened to spot the members in public. And that detail matters, because it changes the entire emotional temperature of the story. Here is the thing fans immediately understood, and honestly, it is worth pausing on for a second before we go further. These were not staged content moments. These were real people trying to have a real day off in a foreign city and getting recorded doing it. Some fans were thrilled, understandably, because glimpses like this are rare and precious when you love someone whose entire public life is usually filtered through a stage, a camera crew, and an official schedule. But a significant number of other fans pushed back hard, arguing that following members around during their actual personal time crosses a line that should not be crossed, tour or no tour. If you have an opinion on this, and honestly most armies do, tell us in the comments, because this conversation has been going on inside the fandom for days, and it deserves more than a quick take. What makes this particular moment even more layered is that it did not happen in a vacuum. Just days before BTS arrived in Munich, V had already addressed this exact issue directly on Weverse. On July 1st, he thanked fans for the incredible welcome BTS had received across every city on the tour so far, but he also made a specific, gentle request. He asked people not to gather outside the hotels where the members were staying, explaining that having their location publicly known affects their condition before performances. He went further, sharing something that felt genuinely personal, that one of the things he treasures most about being on tour is being able to explore each city privately, visiting restaurants, walking the streets, soaking in the local atmosphere like anyone else would. He said he hoped he could keep doing that without being followed or disturbed. It was not a scolding. It was closer to a quiet, hopeful plea. And then, just over a week later, video of exactly the kind of moment he described being taken away from him started circulating from Munich itself. So when Jimin stood on that stage and said, almost shyly, that the members had taken him outside and that Munich was beautiful, it landed on two completely different emotional levels at once. On one hand, it was sweet. It was the kind of small, human detail that makes a global superstar feel suddenly reachable, like the guy next door telling you about his weekend. On the other hand, for fans who had just seen V's message and then watched footage of exactly the private moments he was talking about get filmed anyway, Jimin's words carried a quieter, more complicated weight. It was a reminder that even now, years into fame that most people cannot fully imagine, these are still 7 grown men trying to hold on to small, ordinary pleasures, like walking down a street without being tracked. And it is worth remembering that context every time a clip like this crosses your feed. If this kind of behind-the-scenes storytelling is something you want more of, make sure that notification bell is turned on, because we cover these moments as soon as they happen. It is also worth zooming out here, because the small confession did not exist on its own. It happened at the tail end of a night that was already unusually rich, with these little slice-of-life details from the members. Jin, during the same Munich run, spotted a fan banner that playfully demanded he take off his jacket because, as the sign put it, Europe was already hot enough, and he actually did it, peeling off his jacket on the spot to reveal a sleeveless outfit underneath, sending the stadium into a frenzy. The fan who made that banner later posted a photo of herself in tears, writing that Jin had actually seen her sign. A small reminder of just how much these tiny interactions mean to the people in the crowd. Jungkook, during his own closing remarks, sang a specific line from a German phrase meaning, "You are good enough," after telling the crowd there was something he had been wanting to do, a gesture that felt like it was aimed directly at the local fans who had waited years for BTS to come back to their country. Suga talked about wanting to come back and perform in Munich again someday. J-Hope simply said he felt happy and called the whole night incredible. Taken together, these were not 7 idols delivering a polished corporate goodbye. This was 7 people who had clearly had a genuinely good time in the city and who wanted the people who came to see them to know it in their own individual, imperfect, very human ways. The second night, July 12th, only added another layer to the Munich story, though this one leaned more toward playful chaos than quiet confession. During the show, B appeared fully dressed in an FC Bayern Munich kit and brought an actual soccer ball onto the stage. Jimin, without missing a beat, started kicking it around, juggling it off his knee like he had done it 100 times before, which delighted fans who remembered old footage of him showing off similar skills years earlier. By the end of that second night, Jimin returned to the closing remarks one more time, thanking the crowd from the bottom of his heart for traveling such long distances just to be there, calling it an enormous gift, and promising that the members would keep preparing better songs and performances for the next time they meet. He told everyone to stay well, stay happy, and stay full of joy until then. It was warm, it was sincere, and it fit perfectly with everything else that had unfolded across those 2 nights. Zoom out even further, and you start to see just how significant this Munich stop really was for the tour as a whole. This wasn't just an emotional pit stop between cities. It came directly after London, where BTS drew roughly 130,000 fans across 2 nights at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, setting a new attendance record for that venue and earning 5-star reviews from both The Guardian and Rolling Stone UK, with The Guardian specifically noting that by the end of the show, most people walked away with a new favorite member and pointing directly at Jimin when they said it. The Arirang World Tour, as a whole, has already made history behind the scenes too, breaking a 7-year-old Billboard box score record previously held by the Rolling Stones, after grossing over $127 million and selling more than 640,000 tickets in a single month earlier this year. So when Jimin talks about barely having time to go outside during a normal stop on this tour, he is not exaggerating for effect. This is objectively one of the biggest, busiest, most demanding world tours any group has run in years, which makes that quiet Munich walk with his members even more meaningful. And the tour is not slowing down anytime soon. From Munich, BTS moves directly into Paris, where they will close out the European leg of Arirang with 2 nights at Stade de France on July 17th and 18th, before the entire production packs up and heads across the Atlantic for a string of North American stadium dates starting in August. Which means moments like this Munich confession are not just isolated stories, they are becoming part of a larger pattern this tour keeps producing. Small, human, unscripted glimpses squeezed in between record-breaking numbers and sold-out stadiums. If you want to catch every single one of these moments as they happen, from Paris all the way through the rest of Arirang, this channel is exactly where you should be. Subscribe now, tap that bell, so you get notified the second we drop the next video. And while you are at it, let us know in the comments which member's confession from this tour has hit you the hardest so far. Was it Jimin's quiet walk through Munich, Jin's jacket moment, or something else entirely? We read every single comment, and honestly, they shape a lot of what we cover next. At the end of the day, what makes this particular story stick is not the spectacle. It is not the Holland walk, or the soccer ball, or even the record-breaking numbers. It is the fact that in the middle of one of the most massive, most demanding tours in K-pop history, Jimin chose to stand in front of 75,000 people and tell them something small and true, that this time, in this city, he actually got to go outside, and it was beautiful. It is easy to forget, watching someone perform at that scale, night after night, city after city, that the person on stage is still just a person, someone who notices when a street feels nice to walk down, or when a meal with friends feels like exactly what he needed. Whether you saw the viral clips of him with Jin and J-Hope, or you only heard his words from the stage, the message underneath it all is the same. Even superstars need ordinary moments to feel human. And for one night in Munich, Jimin let everyone in on his. If this video helped you understand the full picture behind that one small moment on stage, that is exactly what this channel is here for. We are not just chasing clips, we are trying to connect them, so you actually understand why a single sentence from Jimin can mean so much more than it seems at first glance. So thank you for watching this one all the way through. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss the next update from this tour. Drop a comment telling us which part of the story surprised you the most, and we will see you in the next video.